Hey YouTube, it's Bobby again with KCA Ranch and Homestead, part 2 of the Coop chicken coop build. Got a late start today, got an electrician here wiring up some generator plugs and things like that. So anyway, I got a little bit done this morning. Want to show you where we're at and try to keep you up to date so you can build your own coop. Be right back. Alright, as you can see, I have all 3 cattle panels attached to the frame. Once again, these are treated 2x6s, maybe a little overkill, but 2x4s just seemed a little small. Probably would have been better for moving it around though. Once I got all the cattle panels attached, everything zip tied together, I started working on the frame, the braces. So basically what I did was stick a treated 2x4 inside there, leveled it up with a level, stuck it through that hole right there so the board was sticking out, kind of like this one here, and then just used a pencil to trace right there. Took it over there to my handy dandy workbench and cut it off on the pencil line. Got it attached down at the bottom. Multiple screws. Beveled it before that. Used some carpenter clamps to get everything where I wanted it. Wood clamps. And then I used the handy plumber's strap, plumber's tape, hanging pipe stuff, whatever you want to call it. And now it's very sturdy. I've got one board out of several, and this thing, I can barely move it. So what I'm going to do next is repeat the process with this one. If you're one of those OCD people that everything has to be perfectly square and measured off, it's not going to work with a coop because the holes that you need are not going to be perfectly aligned and centered. So I think this brace here is going to be probably a little closer to the side than this one. Not a big deal. I'm also going to have diagonal braces running this way and probably a board in the middle, which when we convert this from meat chickens to laying hens, probably hang some nesting boxes on the back side. This is the back side, not the door frame. I'm going to kind of repeat this process on the other side of the coop over there, but it will be framed out for a door that I build. And anyway, the work continues. Got kids and grandkids should be here any minute, so I'm not going to be able to finish framing out today most likely, but I hope y'all have a good one, and if you haven't subscribed or liked or clicked the notification bell, please do. Hey folks, if you're trying to use a level when you do something like this to get your board straight up and down, it's really not going to work that well if your frame is not sitting on perfectly level ground, which mine is way out of level. So instead of using the level, I decided to use a square to make sure it's pretty close, so shouldn't be any gaps there. See that? If it was out of square, it would look like that, or have some gaps at the bottom or top, and you'd have to move your board back and forth. But that's pretty close to square. Just a little tip, I would say pro tip, but that would be a misnomer. Okay, I'm back with a little update. Finished attaching both frame boards. Just use the plumber strap. I had some kind of odd shaped wood that came underneath a pallet of lumber for that deck out there that Home Depot brought me. I've been looking for a reason to use this wood. It made some good braces. I'll walk around. So it's kind of an odd wood with this groove in the middle, but I cut some angles on it Braced it to the corners. I mean, this thing is solid, and I haven't even braced the other side yet with the door frame. So that's about it for now. We'll be back when I get something else done. Thanks for watching. Hey, good morning, YouTube. It's a nice cold sunny morning here in Centerville, Texas. Been a crazy week, so I hadn't got to work much on the chicken coop, but I did want to do some more work here on part 2 of this video. All I've really done yesterday before it started raining, or right after it stopped raining, was to frame out my door frame. I have a little bit more work to do with that, and then I'm going to build a door today. Hopefully get everything put on. I got hinges yesterday and a couple clasps, bolt clasps from Lowe's, and this thing's getting to be a little heavier and more solid than I was hoping for, but it's just for meat chicken, so we're not going to be dragging it around a pasture or anything. Not that we have pasture. But anyway, I'll be back and show you some of the work that I've done. I'm trying to use Craig hole jigs for these pocket holes on the braces, so I don't have to do any redneck, what do you call it, toenailing. It's the first time I've really used this. So this isn't the fancy kit where you can clamp it to the board and it doesn't move. Kind of got to hold it down and then run this drill bit into the little holes, and it leaves you with 2 of those. So anyway, makes for better cross bracing up here. Alright, if you remember in part 1, I said this is not a project for somebody with OCD or who has to have everything perfectly square. Here's a prime example. This cattle panel is not perfectly rounded or centered due to the levels that on the base that it's attached, and just imperfections and everything. So you can see that this end of the door frame is right up against the wire. I really needed to go a little higher, actually. And then this one is about 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch lower than the wire. That's just one example of trying to get everything as square as possible, but my door is definitely not going to be perfectly square, just because of working on a slope up here by the cabin, and because Daisy, you know, she's just not a perfectionist, and she's very impatient and wants to go for a ride in the Kawasaki Mule, so I gotta hurry up. Hey guys, playing around with the door right now. I decided to build it with full 2x4s just to make it more solid, and so I didn't have to wait till next weekend to rip some boards. As you can see, I'm cutting 45s on the frame using my ancient miter saw. It's a little out of square, so it kind of goes along with the rest of this project. Yeah, I've got all the boards cut. I'm laying it out on this trailer just to make it easier to get it square, and then I'm gonna screw it together, probably put a brace in the middle to help me attach some wire to it, and then I'll run that rabbit wire or welded wire across it. Daisy, what do you think? Alrighty, appreciate it. Good talk. Hey folks, I finally got the door hung on this hoop coop. Everything's a little out of square, of course. Boards were bowed out a little bit, so it didn't help, but got some pretty heavy duty hinges. Got some little locks here. I'm probably gonna have to put some trim wood up there to keep little rat snakes and stuff from getting in there. Got a middle latch just because the door's a little bowed out, and then a bottom latch. But other than that, I mean, it seems to work okay. Latches are a little tight. Latches are a lot tight. Anyway, it's a door. Use the staple gun to do rabbit wire. Had to add some little boards on top of my middle brace to have something to staple the wire to, because it's only 24 inches wide, and I didn't think about it when I was building the door, of course. Typical Bobby project. Anyway, I appreciate you tuning in. That concludes part 2 of the chicken coop build. Part 3 will involve wiring and maybe the tarps. I'm not sure yet. Thanks for tuning in. And I couldn't handle that crooked gap at the top of the door, so fixed it.